Hi, Dennis Ward here again for another wonderful reaction video. And we are again at HOFA Studios for HOFA-College. And the guys have prepared a song for me. I guess I've never heard this one too. So let's see what they got for me. So what they have here is Metallica Lux Æterna. I have never heard that one. It's from the new album release, 72 Seasons, released April 14th in 2023. I have not heard it yet. Production, recording, mixing is all Greg Fidelman. Co-produced by James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich. Studio Metallica headquarters, San Rafael, California. Okay, mastering Bob Ludwig, of course. All right, never heard it. Let's give it a listen. Here we go. Okay, let's stop there for a start. My first comment that I got to make is that if I would not have heard the vocals, I would have never have guessed that to have been Metallica, to be honest. If somebody just played it to me. It's missing a lot of the Metallica character that I've known to love or hate, whoever you may be. The first thing I realized or recognized is that it's very clean compared to other albums. And it's lacking a lot of the density that I would hear, like on the Black album. That was just a dense album. It was clear as a bell, too. Don't get me wrong, minus a little bit of bass. But it was clear as a bell, and everything sounded really dense. The drums sounded like really in a room and, you know, just very together. Here, it sounds very clear. Guitar sound seems like I would, what you would expect from Metallica. Good and crunchy, and that massive low-end crunch that they've always had. But so far, really, really, really clean. But that's not a bad thing. Do you like the riff? I like how every part, guitar-wise, is a riff. Really, every part is not just a couple of chords and a rhythm. It's a riff. That's Metallica. Love it, and they should always do that, and I hope they never stop. I'm still finding it to be really on the overly clean side, but maybe that's just a trendy thing. I don't know. I'm just not used to it, so it surprised me a bit. The drums sound, you know, quite not real. But I also think that has to be a big part of metal music these days. It's become to be accepted with quantizing your drums completely on the grid and replacing everything with something that you like more than what you have. So. Good chorus. I like that. Guitar sounds thick. Two things for me as a sound engineer. Now, I know a lot of guitar players won't agree with me. I thought it was a pretty cool solo just because it was like wild, but not too messy. It was actually very clean played to be as messy as it is. But I love the directness and the cohesiveness of the sound, that guitar, a very dry solo guitar in that sound without being like oddly placed. It sits really, really well in the mix. That's really a well done mix job, period. But I really like how that's done. Usually if it's a completely dry solo, it just seems like weird, kind of out of place when there's no room or no echo. There might be a small room on it, and it probably is, I don't know. But it just sounds so direct, but cohesive as hell, and that's really fantastic. Also, on the snare drum, what I really do like is also that it has this real dryness to it, but I hear a lot of early reflections, or maybe a room mic, or a triggered room, or something like that, whatever it is, making the snare sound, like it's got a lot of mass to it, but still no sustain in the direction of like reverbs and plasticness that you would add with a effect or something. And that's pretty cool. That's something you would do with faster songs anyway, but I like the character of that snare, even though I don't find it to be typical or classic Metallica sound. I do like it though. Okay, here's a dry drum kit, and I've tried to keep it as dry as possible so you can get a feeling of what we got. Now this drum kit is very dry. You might have heard something on the toms, but that doesn't matter for the moment. I just left it as it was. But the snare is very, very dry. Now usually you would put a reverb on a snare and it would sound something like this. Which is of course making the snare sustain a bit and give you the feeling that it's in a larger space. We could also use something like a nonlinear or a gated reverb on the snare to give it the feeling of space, but without having too much sustain that overlaps and makes it sound washy. Now this kind of reverb gives the feeling of, well, we have a bit of space, but we don't have the messiness, and that's kind of a good thing in more up-tempo songs. And it definitely sounds a lot fatter than this. And when it's completely dry, it just sounds very flat and very unexciting. If I add a little bit of what's called early reflections, which is really just reflections from the wall, very close walls, and no real sustain at all, we have this effect. You'll notice that it doesn't have the sustain, it doesn't have the larger dimension, but it does sound bigger, it does sound more polished, and it just sounds more exciting. And you have the best of both worlds in that it sounds dry, but it's still fat. Bass drum I love, always. I'm just going back and forth. I was listening in mono a bit. I also think that the guitars are actually kind of quiet for a Metallica album. I'm sure every guitar player would agree with that, but that's just the way guitar players think. A little bit louder, not much, just a tiny bit. It is a really drum-focused album. I like drums too. I like drums very much up front. I won't lie about that too. But on a riff like that, I think I'd probably want to have more guitar. But that's always a matter of taste. But it just occurred to me also when I went to mono how it really closed up quite a bit. Not totally, but quite a bit. So I personally would like more guitar. There's something I like in arrangement right now, I'm going to say, because it's a little bit old school arranging. It was very common 80s, 70s to, have your verse, bridge, chorus, or your verse, chorus, solo part, and then your third verse. Nobody does that anymore. Nobody does the third verse. It's always about keeping it to 3:30, which is exactly what this video is as I'm looking at it. But I'm glad that they came back to the verse, because the verse can actually give the song a lot of dynamic, and coming back to it is a really cool thing. So hats off to them for going for the third one. But a cool song. All in all, really, really cool song. I love the vocal performance. All right. Well, that was that. I have to say, I really think that was a great song. Unexpected for me. Sonically, it's not a Black Album, but it's also not a St. Anger. So it's kind of like they took the safe road sonically and just made sure it sounded good. Kind of disappoints me a bit. I wish more bands would try to go for the, look for that, get that brass ring and try to get that special sound that no one else has. Sometimes for better or worse, because it just makes you somehow unique. Sonically, it sounds a little bit standard or trendy. I don't know how you want to put it. But therefore, the song is excellent. Vocal performance is, for me, the absolute best part of the song. Surprisingly, the guitar solo too, I will admit. Bass, a little bit left in the background there, but I know how it is with these faster songs. A little bit difficult, but, he was doing his job and, carrying the fundament, and that's all it had to be. So all in all, great song, great production. I'm glad I finally got a chance to listen to that. I should check out the whole album. I know, I will then. I had totally forgotten they actually made a record. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this, and please check us out at HOFA-College.com. Come check out all the stuff we got, what we do here, and like and subscribe. And until next time, have a very great day and a very great mix in whatever you do.